Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We begin tonight with breaking news. The U.S. military has launched retaliatory strikes against multiple Houthi targets in Yemen. This follows months of attacks on commercial shipping in the Red Sea. In just the past 24 hours, American and British forces have repelled the largest attack yet, intercepting a barrage of 18 drones and 3 missiles. The militants say their attacks are in response to Israel's war on Hamas. You'll remember one of the Houthis' most brazen attacks was in November, hijacking a cargo ship co-owned by an Israeli businessman. That ship is still being held by rebels. And tonight, U.S. Tomahawk missiles and fighter jets are taking aim at the Iran-backed Houthi bases inside Yemen. Let's get right to Mary Bruce at the White House with this late developing news.
Tonight, U.S. and British forces unleashing a massive retaliatory strike on Houthi rebels in Yemen after months of costly attacks on commercial shipping in the Red Sea. A U.S. official confirming the strikes hit multiple Houthi targets in Yemen and involved a mix of Tomahawk cruise missiles and fighter jets. Just 24 hours ago, the White House warned the Houthis could bear the consequences if they don't stop attacks on commercial shipping in the Red Sea. Tonight, doubling down.
I'm not going to telegraph punches one way or another here. We're going to do what we have to do to counter and defeat these threats that the Houthis keep throwing up on commercial shipping in the Red Sea.
In London tonight, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak convening an urgent meeting with his cabinet discussing possible retaliatory measures. Since mid-November, the Houthis have launched at least 27 attacks, claiming it's in retaliation for Israel's war against Hamas, disrupting one of the most vital shipping routes in the world. 15% of world commerce passes through the Red Sea. Major shipping companies forced to sail around Africa to avoid the violence. The latest attack coming overnight, the Houthis firing a ballistic missile towards a commercial ship in the region, just hours after American and British forces repelled the rebels' largest attack yet, intercepting a barrage of 21 Houthi drones and missiles. One of the Houthis' most brazen attacks coming in November when terrorists hijacked a cargo ship co-owned by an Israeli businessman, landing a helicopter on its deck in the Red Sea. The ship and its 25-man crew still being held by the rebels. Tonight, a Houthi leader warning any U.S. attack will not go without a response.
Very ominous warning there. Thanks to Mary Bruce. Senior White House correspondent Selena Wang joins us now from the White House. Selena, what are you learning tonight?
Well, Lindsay, we've learned that those U.S. retaliatory strikes, they have hit multiple Houthi targets. We're also learning that the U.K. is also using some of its assets to also conduct these strikes. And the U.S. official said that their strikes involve a mix of Tomahawk cruise missiles and fighter jets. Now, this follows a steady stream of escalation from the U.S. in terms of their strong tone saying they will not accept these attacks and that if they do not stop targeting these commercial ships in the Red Sea, well, they will bear the consequences. Earlier today, Lindsay, I was talking to the national security spokesperson at the White House saying how far will the United States go? John Kirby telling me that the U.S. will do what it needs to do to deter and defeat the threats coming from the Houthis. And just earlier this week, the Houthis launched a major attack and the U.S. and British navies shooting down more than 20 missiles and drones, trying to deter that. The U.S. had also created a coalition with other countries, released a statement as well condemning and warning. So there's been a steady drumbeat leading up to this. We knew the U.S. was going to respond in some way, and now we're seeing that response.
And put this into context for us. Why are these strikes in the Red Sea such a big deal?
Well, look, the Red Sea is an incredibly important waterway. About 15% of commercial shipping passes through there, and we're already seeing some major disruptions. And the U.S. has laid that these attacks, they not only threaten lives, they also threaten the global economy. And we've already seen how it's threatened global shipping. So that helps to lay the stakes of why this was such a big deal.
All right, Selena Wang from Washington. Thanks so much, Selena. Now I want to turn to ABC News contributor and former Deputy Secretary of Defense for the Middle East, Mick Mulroy. Mick, thank you for joining us. From what we know so far, how significant are these strikes on the Houthi operations in Yemen?
Lindsay, first of all, this is a long time coming and needed to happen. There's only so long the United States should be out there deflecting attacks, not only against commercial shipping, but against our own naval assets. So this needed to happen. To your question, from initial reports, it looks like they not only went after the sites where they launched these Iranian-supplied weapons, they went after multiple if not dozens, of storage facilities, which is exactly what we needed to do. We needed to degrade their ability to attack these ships, our ships, and these commercial ships because of all the reasons that Selena already pointed out, particularly how this does affect global economies around the world and the world's energy supply. So the United States formed a coalition around 20 countries called Prosperity Guardian to do just this. But when it came down to it, it was the U.S. and U.K. that used our substantial naval power to essentially degrade the Houthis' abilities to continue these operations. There's undoubtedly they will, but at least this will make it more difficult.
And Mary talked about the Houthis' likely response, but how would we expect their backers like Iran to react?
So Iran likely, I think, will continue pushing their proxies, which isn't just the Houthis. It's also Hezbollah, which has a substantial and probably the most significant of their proxies up in Lebanon, and Hamas and the militias that constantly attack our bases, our facilities where our servicemen and women are in Syria and Iraq. So I expect to see these attacks continue. And I also expect to see the United States fighting back. And that's something that we have an absolute obligation to do. Our servicemen and women, including in the Red Sea, have a right to self-defense, and part of self-defense is a good offense. And I think this is something the United States has decided has to happen. We've done everything we can to deter this, but it obviously did not work, and the choice was up to Iran. So I do think Iran will likely amp up, it through its proxies, of course, this clash between the United States and these significant groups, to include terrorist organizations.
Essentially, since October, we've been talking about this concern that Israel's war in Gaza could spread beyond those borders. Do you see this as a possible triggering event?
I do. I see this as one in potentially many triggering events. The most significant concern is, of course, that a northern front is opened here in Israel up on the border of Lebanon. Hezbollah has been in violation of UN resolutions. They're on the border. They pushed 80,000 displaced, I should say, 80,000 Israelis. It's clear from all the discussions I've had from the top to the bottom of the IDF that they believe that war in Lebanon is inevitable. Essentially, they just have to refit and train their troops to be able to do that. That's something the United States doesn't want to happen. We don't want to see a regional conflict, but unfortunately, we're not the only ones making decisions in that space. I believe Iran is pushing Hezbollah to do that. I don't know if Hezbollah wants to have a war with Israel, but unfortunately, if they do not push themselves back or withdraw back beyond the UN designated line, that looks like it could happen.
Just for the average American who's sitting at home watching this, you know, how concerned should we be?
Well, Lindsay, we should be concerned. The Middle East is obviously we have key partners, including Israel out here, but also many of the countries out here, and they're all at risk. And it's not just a risk to themselves, which is important, but it's a risk to the international economy. So much of the world's commerce travels through these waters. So much of the world's energy supply comes from this region, up to 40%. It can have a massive effect on international economies, trade, and things that matters to all nations. So this is not just especially the conflict we're seeing play out tonight in Yemen, the Red Sea, the key straits like the Bab el-Mandeb and the Straits of Hormuz. This isn't just a U.S.-Iran issue. This is a global issue, and all countries should be concerned about this and push to be involved in the solution, which means the Houthis need to stop attacking commercial vessels.
Mick Mulroy, thank you so much for your insight and time. Thank you.
Thanks, Lindsay.
We'll, of course, continue following that breaking news as it develops, but we are turning now to closing arguments in the $370 million financial fraud case against Donald Trump here in New York City. The former president spoke to the court during closing arguments, attacking the judge and the prosecutor from his seat at the defense table. ABC's senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky is outside the courthouse.
Tonight, former President Trump launching into unscripted and unauthorized remarks during closing arguments at a civil fraud trial that threatens the future of a real estate empire that helped propel him to the White House. Ignoring the judge's insistence he stick to the facts and the law, Trump went on the attack, calling the case a political witch hunt that should be set aside, and casting himself as the victim, saying, "I've been persecuted by someone running for office." Trump called himself an innocent man and told the judge, "What happened here, sir, is a fraud on me," complaining New York Attorney General Letitia James sued him to get publicity. The judge in the case has already found that Trump overvalued his real estate properties for years, allowing him to get better terms on loans and insurance. Now the court is deciding how much Trump and his business should pay, along with the future of Trump's real estate dealings in New York. And in court today, Trump did make one concession. When his Trump Tower penthouse was valued as if it was 3 times its actual size, the former president said it was an honest mistake. An attorney for the state said it screams of an intent to defraud. Trump, seated at the defense table, began to attack the judge, who implored a defense lawyer to control your client. After 5 minutes, the judge cut off Trump's remarks, holding up his phone to signal Trump was out of time. Trump then making his case to cameras outside the courtroom.
It's a disgrace, and they should pay me damages.
In their closing argument, state lawyers saying they proved fraud was central to the operation of the Trump Organization's business, and Trump was responsible because the buck stopped with him. The Attorney General arguing Trump should never be allowed to do business in New York again.
This case is about the facts and the law. And Mr. Donald Trump violated the law.
She has consistently said that from the beginning. Aaron Katersky joins us now. And Aaron, when is the judge expected to decide on a penalty in this case?
Judge Engoron said at the end of the court day he would make a decision by the 31st of January, so the end of this month, whether Trump deserves any kind of a penalty. The state wants him to pay as much as $370 million and get booted from New York real estate. Lindsay, that's a decision that could force Trump to give up control of some of the buildings around here that bear his name. Lindsay?
Could have monumental impacts there. Aaron Katersky for us. Thanks so much, Aaron. Hunter Biden has pleaded not guilty to federal tax charges. The president's son appeared in person at his arraignment today in federal court in downtown Los Angeles. It comes just a day after his surprise attendance at a Capitol Hill hearing on whether to hold him in contempt of Congress. The younger Biden faces 9 felony and misdemeanor tax-related charges, accusing him of failing to pay $1.4 million from 2016 to 2019. The indictment alleges he earned millions of dollars from foreign entities in countries like Ukraine and China and chose not to pay taxes. Now to the flood emergency across the Northeast. People are just beginning to assess the damage after one storm. Now another one's on the way. ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano is tracking what's next. But first is a look at the damage already left behind.
Tonight, families across the waterlogged Northeast now bracing for more flooding rain. In Little Falls, New Jersey, the Passaic River reaching major flood stage and has yet to crest.
Water is now pouring into this neighborhood. The sun is setting and the streets are filling up. People are being asked to evacuate because the river is going to keep rising through the dark of night.
This community seeing its 3rd such water event in as many weeks and preparing for a 4th. Corey Nielsen staying put, but ready to flee if the water gets too high.
We'll row up the street and get out that way.
Governor Murphy here today urging vigilance.
We have no injuries or fatalities, and I hope it stays that way.
And from the south, surveillance video showing the moment an EF2 tornado struck Bamberg, South Carolina on Tuesday. Winds up to 125 miles per hour. That twister up to 5 football fields wide.
Just a monster of a storm. And Rob joins us now from Wayne, New Jersey, in the midst of all that water there. Rob, as that next winter weather system gears up, most of the country is under a storm warning tonight. What can you tell us about what's ahead?
Well, that's right behind the last one, and it looks very similar, Lindsay. This river is still rising. It will crest later on tonight. These vacuum cleaners, it's going to be a while before they can get a rinse themselves because flood watches are already up here for the next storm coming in. Blizzard warnings, as you mentioned, winter storm warnings, they're up already in the Midwest. And we also have a severe weather threat tonight across parts of the South. Little Rock down to I-20, Shreveport, and east into Mississippi. Could see some strong tornadoes develop after midnight and persist through the day tomorrow across Georgia, Alabama, and the Carolinas. The low itself taking a very similar track to the last one across the heartland, ramps up. I think Chicago gets more in the way of snow than it did with the last storm. Could be significant there. And then it pushes up east across the Great Lakes. But everybody east and south of the low will have mostly rain. But it will be heavy, 1 to 2, in some cases 3 inches. That's coming here into the Northeast with heavy wind as well tomorrow night into Saturday morning. So just as these rivers, some of them at least, begin to recede, a lot of them are going right back up after this next rainstorm this weekend. Lindsay?
No rest for the weary. Rob Marciano, our thanks to you as always. Today, the FAA announced that it's investigating Boeing after a 737 MAX 9 jet lost its door plug mid-flight last week and forced an emergency landing. The agency said the incident should have never happened and cannot happen again. Federal investigators will work to determine if Boeing failed to ensure completed products conform to its approved design and were in a condition for safe operation. Boeing said it will cooperate fully and transparently. The Department of Defense Inspector General announced it will investigate the mishandling of Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin's recent hospitalization. In a memo, the Inspector General said it will examine the roles, procedures, responsibilities, and actions related to the Secretary's secretive hospitalization. The Pentagon has come under fire for not notifying the White House or other top military officials sooner after Secretary Austin had complications from a prostate cancer procedure. Overseas today at The Hague in the Netherlands, the UN's International Court of Justice began hearing South Africa's case accusing Israel of genocide in its war in Gaza. South Africa is asking the court to impose binding preliminary order on Israel, including an immediate halt to the military campaign in Gaza.
Palestinians in Gaza are being killed by Israeli weaponry and bombs from air, land, and sea. They are also at immediate risk of death by starvation, dehydration, and disease as a result of the ongoing siege by Israel, the destruction of Palestinian towns, the insufficient aid being allowed through to the Palestinian population, and the impossibility of distributing this limited aid while bombs fall. This conduct renders essentials to life unobtainable.
Israel will present its argument before the court tomorrow. Earlier this week, Israeli President Isaac Herzog defended his country's war conduct in a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken.
And here, with the hypocrisy of South Africa, we will be there at the International Court of Justice and will present proudly our case of using self-defense under our most inherent right under international humanitarian law, where we are doing our utmost under extremely complicated circumstances on the ground to make sure that there will be no unintended consequences and no civilian casualties.
We're joined now by University of Illinois professor of international law Francis Boyle. He was involved in prosecuting war crimes following the war in former Yugoslavia, and he was a legal advisor on the Palestinian Declaration of Independence in 1988 and the creation of the State of Palestine, which is now a UN observer state. Professor, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Let's take a look at the strength of this case. The White House has called it, quote, meritless, counterproductive, and completely without any basis in fact, end quote. Does South Africa have a strong argument for genocide?
I have read all the written pleadings by the Republic of South Africa. I listened to all the hearings held in the court. South Africa presented a solid case. I predict South Africa will win an order against Israel to cease and desist from committing all acts of genocide against the Palestinians, just like I won the two orders for the Republic of Bosnia-Herzegovina against Yugoslavia. Well, the World Court considered that in the advisory opinion and ruled that that only applied in the event of an armed attack by another state. And the Palestinians were not a state. As Professor Lowe correctly pointed out today, Hamas is not a state. And so Gaza is occupied territory. Israel is the belligerent occupant of Gaza under the laws of war, and the World Court already rejected Israel's argument that it had any right of self-defense against occupied people like the Palestinians.
After Secretary Blinken's visit to Israel this week, he announced Israel had agreed to a UN-led mission to allow displaced Gazans to return to their homes in the north. Does this case put pressure on Israel to hasten that process?
Well, they better. The South Africa has called for a ceasefire. I believe the court will give them a ceasefire against Israel, just like the court gave a ceasefire to Ukraine against Russia. If there's a ceasefire and massive provision of humanitarian relief supplies to the Palestinians, that might help Israel at the World Court.
From your experience with the court, how soon could we expect a ruling?
Yes, I won my first World Court order about a week after the close of the hearings. I won my second World Court order about 2 weeks after the close of the hearings. On February 4, a third of these judges retired. So clearly they will want to wind up these preliminary measures proceedings before February 4 and get the order out there before new judges come in to handle the next stage of the proceedings.
Professor Francis Boyle, we thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Sure, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Now to that deadly avalanche at a ski resort near Lake Tahoe, California. Tonight, we're hearing terrifying accounts of what it was like to be trapped under the snow. ABC's Matt Rivers is there. He spoke to survivors.
Tonight, new video showing the harrowing rescues during that dramatic avalanche near Lake Tahoe.
I just felt like my whole lower body just get lifted and moved.
Hannah Sugarman buried up to her neck. She was quickly dug out. Her partner safe too, but her brother swept over a 10-foot cliff.
Were you scared for your life in that moment?
I think I felt every type of fear possible in a day. I feared for my life, I feared for yours and my brother's lives.
Her brother Oliver found 15 minutes later.
They're bringing a toboggan for you.
Video showing ski patrol tending to his broken leg. Rescuers leading a frantic search for those still buried. Cheers erupting when this man is dug out. Onlookers reporting that part of the snowpack had broken loose in a rare inbounds avalanche that killed 66-year-old Kenneth Kidd. Janet He swept away and buried, her husband later taking this video.
The avalanche happened just behind me.
Only Janet's foot sticking out from the snow.
I heard somebody say, "No worry, I got you."
Janet then taking this selfie with her rescuer.
Lindsay, the slope where that avalanche happened right there behind me, and even though it is a blue sky day today, the Sierra Avalanche Center saying the dangerous avalanche conditions will last into tomorrow. Lindsay?
All right, people need to be careful there, Matt. Thank you. Tonight, a new report finds that more than $1 billion worth of weapons sent to Ukraine were not properly tracked. ABC's Tom Suvi-Burridge has that story.
Tonight, it's a critical moment for U.S. support in the war. A new report accusing U.S. officials of failing to account for more than half of the sophisticated weapons supplied to Ukraine in a sample that was under review. The Defense Department's Inspector General investigating whether nearly 40,000 items, such as Stinger missiles and night vision sets, were properly tracked just before and in the months after Russia invaded. The report found that more than $1 billion worth of $1.7 billion in military items under scrutiny were delinquent or not properly accounted for. But the report's finding no evidence that any U.S. military aid to Ukraine has been misused or stolen.
At this time, there remains no credible evidence of illicit diversion of U.S.-provided advanced conventional weapons from Ukraine.
It comes with Congress still not agreeing on continuing to support Ukraine. And now these frontline troops are running low on ammunition.
Well, you could really feel the force of this American gun. But these Ukrainian artillery units are now having to limit the amount they fire because of the scarcity of ammunition.
The unit showing us their stock of just 20 shells. They had around 200 a day just a few months ago.
And Lindsay, a top US defense official reacting to that report saying the accounting procedures for weaponry sent here are, quote, not practical in a hostile, dynamic, wartime environment. Lindsay?
Tom, thank you. It is the end of an era in the NFL. Coach Bill Belichick parted ways with the Patriots after more than 2 decades and 6 Super Bowl wins, despite having 1 more year left on his contract. Here's ABC's Will Reed with a look back at an incredible run.
Tonight, Bill Belichick saying goodbye to New England as the legendary coach and his team of nearly a quarter century part ways.
This is a day of, gratitude and celebration.
Belichick, who coached the Patriots for 24 seasons, winning 6 Super Bowls in 9 appearances, alongside team owner Robert Kraft today, grateful.
We had a vision of, building a winner, building a championship football team here, and that's exceeded my wildest dreams.
The coach had 1 year left on his contract, but faced mounting pressure this season. The team has struggled since Tom Brady left in free agency, missing the playoffs in 3 of the last 4 seasons. Brady calling him the best coach in NFL history, saying, "I could have never been the player I was without you." Kraft, who hired Belichick away from the New York Jets in 2000, deeming this separation amicable but necessary.
This is a move that we mutually agreed that is needed at this time.
Fans, like Belichick, emotional.
I'm 23, so my whole life has been Belichick.
It doesn't seem like the Patriots without Belichick there.
So appreciative of the fans for all the support they've given me, my family, and this football team.
Belichick leaves New England with the 2nd most wins for a coach in league history, and with fondness for the team and organization.
It's with just so many fond memories and thoughts that I think about the Patriots, and I'll always be a Patriot.
Belichick needs just 15 more wins to break the all-time record. If he does it, it will be with a new team. No official word yet on Belichick's future plans, but right now there are 7 other available head coaching jobs in the NFL, Lindsay.
A lot of opportunities there, Will. Thank you. We'll have more on Bill Belichick's impact later in the show, but still much more to get to here on Prime tonight. A historic move forward today for crypto investors. But next, imagine being the only public official who's a Democrat in an otherwise Republican state. We bring you his story.
I want to talk to everybody. I want every perspective in on the decisions that we make in the auditor's office. That, to me, is public service, and I think that's how we're supposed to do it, even if it isn't very popular right now.
Whenever news breaks.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland, let's go.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines from southern Israel.
Outside the Gaza Strip.
In Beirut.
From the FBI.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming.
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about. The new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Welcome back, everyone. They say 1 is the loneliest number, and in a state with a small population like Iowa, that may be especially true. In tonight's Prime Focus, we introduce you to the only public official in the entire state who's a Democrat. Alex Brachet brings us this report from the Hawkeye State.
No such thing as a bad day in the woods.
Up in that tree, that man with the bow and arrow, wearing camouflage, is the best hope for Democrats in Iowa.
A lot of deer.
41-year-old Rob Sand is the state's auditor and the only Democrat in Iowa to hold statewide office, and an avid bow hunter.
I want to talk to everybody. I want every perspective in on the decisions that we make in the auditor's office. That, to me, is public service, and I think that's how we're supposed to do it, even if it isn't very popular right now.
His bumper says Rob Sand finds bucks, and after a narrow win in 2018, he believes he got the job he was born to do.
I just tell people who I am and make sure that they know what I believe. I grew up in a small town. My faith is really important to me, and so I talk about it. I like to hunt, I like to fish, I own guns. I do think that those are things that make me a little bit easier to place in Iowa for Iowans.
With the caucuses just around the corner, Iowa is known for setting the tone for presidential elections.
How's it going, Ames?
From a junior senator from Illinois,
Iowa, do we love it?
to a mega real estate tycoon. With such a dynamic swing of political ideology, it's hard to put Iowa in a box.
The reality is there were a lot of people who voted for both of them. And to me, I think, again, I would go to listening. We're gonna have to listen to those people and figure out what was it that made you vote for Barack Obama and then vote for Donald Trump.
The Iowa caucus is in chaos this morning.
After a tumultuous 2020 caucus where it took days to tally the votes, calls grew for Iowa to lose their first-in-the-nation status.
Thank you, South Carolina!
The Democratic National Committee announced they were pulling out of the Iowa caucuses for the first time in 50 years.
It puts black voters at the front of the process in South Carolina.
Setting their sights on more voters in South Carolina that propelled Biden to victory last election. The change sending shockwaves through the Hawkeye state.
It seems like right now it's kind of a lonely time to be a Democrat in Iowa.
The Iowa electorate has become more polarized and not to the benefit of the Democrats. Would a Democratic presidential candidate come spend money in Iowa at this point? I'm not sure whether or not that's a wise investment.
Once a moderate voice between the two left-leaning coasts, Iowa, like so many in the Midwest, has turned decidedly Republican. While a number of states in the region have gone from moderate to MAGA, Iowa had the largest swing of voters with a total of 31 counties that flipped from voting for Obama in 2012 to Trump in 2016.
Democrats have a lot of rebuilding to do here in Iowa. And the first thing to do is they've got to sit down and figure out what their message is that will go beyond people who live in cities and have college degrees. Republicans and Republican-leaning folks are not willing at this point to pay attention to Democrats because they just they don't think the Democrats have anything to offer them.
Republicans plan on cashing in on this opportunity created by the Democrats.
I think a lot of that has to do with the national party not wanting to be involved with Iowa, which I think is a mistake for them. But that's going to help us keep this state red for a long, long time.
Joe Mitchell, once the youngest representative in the Iowa State House, today heads Run Gen Z, a farm team of sorts for young Republicans here in Iowa and across the country.
There's not one, size fits all. You can't win majorities with that mindset. And, ultimately in Iowa, that's what we've been able to do. And that's why there's huge majorities both in the House and the Senate. For that very reason.
How many of you are coming to hear me at a town hall for the first time?
Republican candidates have barnstormed the state for months, hoping to get that precious Iowan vote. In 2020, the collapse of Iowa Democrats included losing a Senate seat, 2 congressional seats, and a half dozen seats in the state legislature. Rita Hart fell victim, losing her bid for Congress by just 6 votes. Making it one of the closest House races in modern history.
This is a low point for Democrats, but there's plenty of optimism here. We don't expect to turn this on a dime, but I think that Iowa Democrats are definitely engaged and very committed to getting a more balanced government in place in Iowa.
Today, Rita heads the Democratic Party in Iowa. And in her first year in office, she is determined to rebuild the Hawkeye Democrats. Rita's strategy, back to basics.
One of the things that I'm a big believer in is in our grassroots efforts to be able to accomplish what county parties need to do, which is get out the Democratic vote.
Last year, Rob Sand crisscrossed Iowa talking to voters in all 99 counties, spreading the message that there is a future for Democrats here in Iowa. But that message has also made him a target for Republicans. Last year, Rob found himself in the crosshairs of Governor Kim Reynolds. She and the Republican supermajority in the Iowa state legislature effectively tied the hands of their only political opponent, restricting auditors' access to certain information from state agencies while investigating waste, fraud, and abuse.
We're supposed to be focused on public service. We're supposed to be focused on doing the right thing and not on doing the Democratic or the Republican thing.
And as Republicans in Iowa gear up to decide the next Republican candidate for president, this lone Democrat has his focus on a different opponent.
The Iowa Democratic Party is like a sports team with a win-loss record that is not great. But if you actually look at the wins and the losses, there have been a lot of really close losses.
Our thanks to Alex Perche. And still much more to get to tonight on Prime. Coming up, our colleague and friend Michael Strahan takes on the challenge of his life right alongside his daughter. But next, from college football to the NFL, some of football's greatest coaches see their eras come to an end. We show you by the numbers.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers
in Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital, destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5. Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
Inside that pen is a slice of human brain.
I've never seen a place like this in my life. Oh my God, look! Wow.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show. First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about. The new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
In an interview, you talked about how you felt the boogeyman was coming.
Yeah. But since I was a kid, I felt something's gonna get me.
The case of Jonathan Majors, the actor convicted of charges.
What happened exactly, do you know?
No, I don't know. She's unconscious.
Your defense team has said that you were the victim of that night.
Who received injuries in the car? I did.
Jonathan Majors Speaks, the Impact by Nightline exclusive, now streaming on Hulu. Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good.
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, Afternoons.
For everything you need to know. I love that.
Reporting from the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, I'm Elizabeth Schulze. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. It is the end of an era in the world of football. Coach Bill Belichick is leaving the New England Patriots after the most successful coaching tenure in the history of the NFL. And that's not the only recent breakup in football. Let's take a deep dive into the legacy of three departing football legends by the numbers. Belichick coached 24 seasons with the Patriots, winning an NFL record 6 Super Bowl titles there. This season, he became just the third NFL coach to reach 300 career wins in the regular season. And after 17 seasons with the Crimson Tide, yesterday, University of Alabama coach Nick Saban announced his retirement. He won a record 7 national titles, 6 with the Alabama football program. He has 292 career wins as a college head coach, and 4 of his players won the Heisman Trophy. Meanwhile, head coach Pete Carroll just ended his time with the Seattle Seahawks after 14 seasons. He led the team to 1 Super Bowl victory. He was the oldest head coach in the NFL at 72 years old, and the Seahawks were the 3rd NFL team that he coached. He's one of 3 coaches to win both a college football national championship and a Super Bowl. And here's some football trivia for you. Did you know Alabama coach Nick Saban was once Belichick's assistant? It's true, for the Cleveland Browns back in the 90s. And get this, Pete Carroll was the New England head coach before Belichick. A lot of change in the NFL right now, and no word just yet on who will fill their very large shoes. And we still have much more ahead here on Prime tonight. Artist Jelly Roll testifies before Congress on our nation's fentanyl crisis, and our exclusive interview with actor Jonathan Majors.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed.
Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland, from Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home? We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Splintered houses and splintered lives, and the magnitude of the devastation. You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Raleigh, North Carolina, the U.S. Capitol, Mayfield, Kentucky,
Minneapolis,
Mexico, Tongass National Forest, Alaska.
Getting you behind the stories as they happen, giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live.
ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live. Streaming free right now wherever you stream your news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about, the new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital, destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news. Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed.
Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City.
Getting you behind the stories as they happen.
ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights wherever you stream your news. Only on ABC News Live.
Get ready, America, every Friday.
The hottest trends, styles, and must-have. What's the right stuff to buy right now? I really love that. It's time to buy the right stuff.
Yes!
And save big time, too.
The right stuff.
Fridays on GMA. You're going to love it.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories. Start Here.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Make it your daily first listen wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Jelly Roll testifies in a congressional hearing. Jewish students are suing Harvard, and a secret New York City tunnel sealed with cement. These stories and much more in tonight's rundown.
I am here to speak on the fentanyl crisis. I think it's one of the worst things happening in America.
Known for his stage name Jelly Roll, Jason DeFord told a Senate committee on Thursday that he deeply regrets his past involvement with drugs. He said he has lost his own loved ones due to fentanyl overdoses and said the nation is in crisis.
I've attended more funerals than I care to share with y'all. This committee, I could sit here and cry for days about the caskets I've carried of people I loved dearly, deeply, in my soul.
A major move for crypto investing. For the first time, the Securities and Exchange Commission approving the trading of spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds, or ETFs. It means investors will be able to buy shares in a fund that tracks the value of Bitcoin without the cumbersome process of actually buying the cryptocurrency directly. The move gives further legitimacy to Bitcoin trading and allows fund managers to easily use a Bitcoin ETF as a component of a brokerage-held investment portfolio or even 401k.
Now, in saying yes to these ETFs, the SEC is saying, look, we're not approving it, we're not endorsing it. And in fact, the SEC chair, Gary Gensler, coming out with this red flag. Investors should remain cautious about the myriad risks associated with Bitcoin and products whose value is tied to crypto.
We're learning more about the tunnel that a group of worshipers illegally dug under the Hamas World Headquarters in Brooklyn. Officials say it was 60 feet long and 8 feet wide and posed a serious risk to the stability of two buildings. The city just issued an order to vacate parts of the buildings. Police arrested 9 members of the congregation who they say dug the tunnel to have around-the-clock access to the synagogue. Those men are also accused of obstructing workers who tried to fill the illegal tunnel earlier this week. Workers finally filled that tunnel yesterday.
In Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C., 2 deputies on motorcycles have been injured after a teen driver plowed into them this morning while they were responding to an accident. Officials confirmed 1 deputy has been released from the hospital while the other remains under medical care with non-life-threatening injuries.
Hertz says it's selling off about a third of its electric vehicle fleet. That amounts to around 20,000 cars, mainly Teslas. The rental agency cites weak demand and high repair costs, but it could be good news for buyers. Hertz has more than 350 Tesla Model 3s listed on their car sales website, with many going for under $25,000. That's before federal electric vehicle incentives. It's also less than half of what the electric sedan cost when new.
The lawsuit filed in Boston's federal court claims Harvard has allowed its campus to become a bastion of rampant anti-Semitism from which the university has failed to implement policies to shield Jewish students. It accuses the university of violating a federal anti-discrimination law. The group says anti-Semitic incidents on campus escalated following the Hamas attacks on Israel on October 7th, which also contributed to the removal of Harvard's president, Claudine Gay.
Now another look at our ABC News exclusive with actor Jonathan Majors in his first interview since he was convicted of misdemeanor reckless assault and harassment. In a sit-down with me, he called the 2-year relationship with Grace Jabari toxic and unhealthy, but he was adamant and says there was absolutely no physical abuse.
I told you, time isn't what you think.
Less than a year ago, the name Jonathan Majors was followed by talk of critical and box office success, skyrocketing fame, even Oscar buzz.
I'm coming for everything.
Different conversation surrounds that marquee name.
Something about sitting here right now and looking at you and understanding the gravity of the situation. A situation that I, in many ways, put myself in.
The actor spoke exclusively with ABC News for the first time after being convicted in late December for harassment and misdemeanor reckless assault in the 3rd degree, which could carry a penalty of up to a year behind bars.
Why did you decide you wanted to talk now?
I felt like it was time. A lot has happened in my personal life, in my career, in the culture. It's about responsibility and coming forward and being brave and giving my part of the story.
Your reaction to that verdict?
Shock. I was absolutely shocked, and afraid. And I'm standing there, and the verdict comes down. I say, how is that possible? Based off the evidence, based off the prosecution's evidence, let alone our evidence. How is that possible?
But after only hours of deliberation, a jury of his peers agreed with prosecutors that he did physically injure his then-girlfriend, Grace Jabari, in an incident last March.
What happened exactly, do you know?
No, I don't know. But she's unconscious.
That 911 call from Majors came hours after an argument broke out with Jabari in the back seat of an SUV, when Majors received a text from another woman saying, "Oh, how I wish to be kissing you." Jabari testified that when she grabbed the phone, Majors tried to get it back, fracturing her finger and giving her a cut behind her ear.
She says inside the car, you hit her in the face, twist her arm behind her back, fracture her middle finger.
Yeah, that did not happen.
How did those injuries come about?
I wish to God I knew. That would give clarity. That would give me some type of peace about it.
But you're confident you didn't cause
I have no
them.
question.
Surveillance video shows Majors getting out of the car, followed by Jabari, whom he then puts back inside the vehicle. What happens next is what the defense remains focused on. Majors runs off, and Jabari chases after him.
If you watch those videos and you reverse that, and you saw a black man chasing a young white girl down the street, screaming and crying, that man is going to be shot and killed in the streets of New York City.
Majors' defense team shared these photos, which he says show the injuries he received that night, which were deemed inadmissible in court.
How were you injured?
My injuries were, I had a scratch on my hand, you know, from clawing for the phone, and I had a gash on my, at the time I had a beard. Under my beard, I had essentially a fingernail scratch on my, I guess, my cheek from pressure, and that bled overnight.
But prosecutors say Majors was the aggressor. District Attorney Alvin Bragg says the evidence presented throughout this trial illustrated a cycle of psychological and emotional abuse. In court, prosecutors pointed to a previous argument during which he knocked a candle to the floor.
I completely lost my temper in that moment and threw it all on the ground. That's not something I would want my child to do, and I did that. I absolutely did that, and felt terrible about it.
The prosecution also played audio Jabari had recorded earlier in the relationship where Majors encouraged her to act more like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama.
I'm a great man, a great man. I am doing great things, not just for me, but for my culture and for the world. That is actually the position I'm in. The woman that supports me needs to be a great woman.
There are some who question, especially in the black community, as you're probably well aware, that people were saying, well, why was he telling this woman to be like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama?
It was me trying to give an analogy of what it is I'm aspiring to be. You know, these great men, Martin, President Obama, and trying to give a reference point to that. One of the things I also say is, like, I need her, in that case, Grace, to make the same sacrifices that I am making.
In a statement to ABC News, an attorney for Jabari said in part, it is not at all surprising that Mr. Majors continues to take no accountability for his actions, adding, the timing of these new statements demonstrates a clear lack of remorse for his actions.
Do you feel you're not responsible for her injuries at all?
I shouldn't have been in the car. I shouldn't have stepped out of the relationship. I shouldn't have been in the relationship. If I'm not in the car, none of this is happening. If I leave the relationship, none of this is happening. If I'm man enough or brave enough to say, I want to see somebody else, or I'm done now, I'm not in that car. We're not here. I'm responsible for those things.
But none of her injuries.
I can't say that. None of her injuries.
ABC's Impact is taking an even deeper dive into the interview, the evidence, and the verdict. You can stream it now on Hulu. Robin Roberts sat down with Michael Strahan and his daughter Isabella. 19-year-old Isabella revealed her battle with a rare cancer, a brain tumor that typically affects young children. But Isabella is now sharing her story in the hopes that it will help others. Here's Robin Roberts.
How are you, baby? Our dear friend Michael, side by side with his daughter Isabella, as they reveal what they've been facing over the last few months.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. Soon after starting college at the University of Southern California this past fall, the then 18-year-old freshman begins experiencing excruciating headaches, unlike any she's had before. What did you think was going on at the time?
I thought I had vertigo, because I looked that up and associated that with walking straight.
Doctors suddenly telling Isabella she's developed a fast-growing 4-centimeter tumor in the back of her brain, its size larger than a golf ball.
I just remember trying to figure out how to get to LA ASAP, and it just doesn't feel real.
Isabella undergoing emergency surgery, the procedure urgent to remove the mass, the day before her 19th birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Isabella's recollection of her recovery remains foggy, like taking her first sips of water.
Does that feel refreshing?
And learning how to walk again.
Looking good.
With the help of her twin sister, Sophia.
Can I get strawberry ice cream after this?
Oh yeah.
After a grueling month of rehab, Isabella then moving on to several rounds of radiation treatment.
I just finished radiation therapy, which is proton radiation, and I got to ring the bell yesterday. It was great. It was very exciting because it's been a long 30 sessions. I don't want to hide it anymore because it's hard to always keep it in hope too. Just kind of be a voice and be a person people who maybe are going through chemotherapy or radiation can look at.
I got an amazing daughter, and I know she's going through it, but I know that we're never giving more than we can handle, and that she is gonna crush this. I mean, I know this is tough, but you keep on living, Isabella. You inspire all of us every single day when we're around you. Okay? And we love you. We're here for you, and you got this, so.
I love you too.
You made it, baby.
Isabella, such an inspiration to us all. We thank her for sharing her story. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Lindsay Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up in the next hour, emergency flood evacuations and a tornado with 125-mile-per-hour winds. And we take you to the most powerful tech event in the world, CES, and tell you what the newest and greatest gadgets.
This is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories. Start Here.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Make it your daily first listen, wherever you get your podcasts. From America's #1 news comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter, and customizable to your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good.
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know. I love that.
Give it to me.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital.
Destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye. Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
In an interview, you talked about how you felt the boogeyman was coming.
Yeah. But since I was a kid, I felt something's gonna get me.
The case of Jonathan Majors, the actor convicted of charges.
What happened exactly? Do you know?
No, I don't know. She's unconscious.
Your defense team has said that you were the victim that night.
Who received injuries in the car? I did.
Jonathan Majors Speaks, the Impact by Nightline exclusive, now streaming on Hulu.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show. Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Getting you behind the stories as they happen. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights wherever you stream your news. Only on ABC News Live.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. This is ABC News Live Prime. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We begin with breaking news. The U.S. military, along with the British military, has launched retaliatory strikes against multiple Houthi targets in Yemen. This follows months of attacks on commercial shipping in the Red Sea. In just the past 24 hours, American and British forces have repelled the largest attack yet, intercepting a barrage of 18 drones and 3 missiles. The militants say their attacks are in response to Israel's war on Hamas. You may remember one of the Houthis' most brazen attacks was back in November, hijacking this cargo ship co-owned by an Israeli businessman. That ship is still being held by rebels. And tonight, U.S. Tomahawk missiles and fighter jets are taking aim at the Iran-backed Houthi bases inside Yemen. Let's get right to ABC's Mary Bruce at the White House with this late-breaking news.
Tonight, U.S. and British forces unleashing a massive retaliatory strike on Houthi rebels in Yemen after months of costly attacks on commercial shipping in the Red Sea. A U.S. official confirming the strikes hit multiple Houthi targets in Yemen and involved a mix of Tomahawk cruise missiles and fighter jets. Just 24 hours ago, the White House warned the Houthis could bear the consequences if they don't stop attacks on commercial shipping in the Red Sea. Tonight, doubling down.
I'm not going to telegraph punches one way or another here. We're going to do what we have to do to counter and defeat these threats that the Houthis keep throwing up on commercial shipping in the Red Sea.
In London tonight, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak convening an urgent meeting with his cabinet discussing possible retaliatory measures. Since mid-November, the Houthis have launched at least 27 attacks, claiming it's in retaliation for Israel's war against Hamas, disrupting one of the most vital shipping routes in the world. 15% of world commerce passes through the Red Sea. Major shipping companies forced to sail around Africa to avoid the violence. The latest attack coming overnight, the Houthis firing a ballistic missile towards a commercial ship in the region, just hours after American and British forces repelled the rebels' largest attack yet, intercepting a barrage of 21 Houthi drones and missiles. One of the Houthis' most brazen attacks coming in November when terrorists hijacked a cargo ship co-owned by an Israeli businessman, landing a helicopter on its deck in the Red Sea. The ship and its 25-man crew still being held by the rebels. Tonight, a Houthi leader warning any U.S. attack will not go without a response.
Some ominous words there. Our thanks to Mary Bruce. Our senior White House correspondent Selena Wang joins us now from Washington, D.C. Selena, what are you learning tonight?
Well, Lindsay, we've learned that those U.S. retaliatory strikes, they have hit multiple Houthi targets. We're also learning that the U.K. is also using some of its assets to also conduct these strikes. And the U.S. officials said that their strikes involve a mix of Tomahawk cruise missiles and fighter jets. Now, this follows a steady stream of escalation from the U.S. in terms of their strong tone saying they will not accept these attacks and that if they do not stop targeting these commercial ships in the Red Sea, well, they will bear the consequences. Earlier today, Lindsay, I was talking to the national security spokesperson at the White House saying how far will the United States go? John Kirby telling me that the U.S. will do what it needs to do to deter and defeat the threats coming from the Houthis. And just earlier this week, the Houthis launched a major attack and the U.S. and British navies shooting down more than 20 missiles and drones trying to deter that. The U.S. had also created a coalition with other countries, released a statement as well condemning and warning. So there's been a steady drumbeat leading up to this. We knew the U.S. was going to respond in some way, and now we're seeing that response.
And put this into context for us. Why are these strikes in the Red Sea such a big deal?
Well, look, the Red Sea is an incredibly important waterway. About 15% of commercial shipping passes through there, and we're already seeing some major disruptions. And the U.S. has laid that these attacks, they not only threaten lives, they also threaten the global economy. And we've already seen how it's threatened global shipping. So that helps to lay the stakes of why this was such a big deal.
All right, Selena Wang from Washington. President Biden released a statement about those strikes, saying in part, these targeted strikes are a clear message that the United States and our partners will not tolerate attacks on our personnel or allow hostile actors to imperil freedom of navigation in one of the world's most critical commercial routes. I will not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and the free flow of international commerce as necessary. In New York City today, closing arguments in the $370 million financial fraud case against Donald Trump. The former president spoke to the court during closing arguments, attacking the judge and prosecutor from his seat at the defense table. ABC's senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky is outside the courthouse.
Tonight, former President Trump launching into unscripted and unauthorized remarks during closing arguments at a civil fraud trial that threatens the future of a real estate empire that helped propel him to the White House. Ignoring the judge's insistence he stick to the facts and the law, Trump went on the attack, calling the case a political witch hunt that should be set aside, and casting himself as the victim, saying, "I've been persecuted by someone running for office." Trump called himself an innocent man and told the judge, "What happened here, sir, is a fraud on me," complaining New York Attorney General Letitia James sued him to get publicity. The judge in the case has already found that Trump overvalued his real estate properties for years, allowing him to get better terms on loans and insurance. Now the court is deciding how much Trump and his business should pay, along with the future of Trump's real estate dealings in New York. And in court today, Trump did make one concession. When his Trump Tower penthouse was valued as if it was 3 times its actual size, the former president said it was an honest mistake. An attorney for the state said it screams of an intent to defraud. Trump, seated at the defense table, began to attack the judge, who implored a defense lawyer to control your client. After 5 minutes, the judge cut off Trump's remarks, holding up his phone to signal Trump was out of time. Trump then making his case to cameras outside the courtroom.
It's a disgrace, and they should pay me damages.
In their closing argument, state lawyers saying they proved fraud was central to the operation of the Trump Organization's business, and Trump was responsible because the buck stopped with him. The Attorney General arguing Trump should never be allowed to do business in New York again.
This case is about the facts and the law. And Mr. Donald Trump violated the law.
She's been saying that from the beginning. Our thanks to Aaron Katersky. Hunter Biden has pleaded not guilty to federal tax charges. The president's son appeared in person at his arraignment today in federal court in downtown Los Angeles. It comes just one day after his surprise attendance at a Capitol Hill hearing on whether to hold him in contempt of Congress. The younger Biden faces 9 felony and misdemeanor tax-related charges, accusing him of failing to pay $1.4 million from 2016 to 2019. The indictment alleges he earned millions of dollars from foreign entities in countries like Ukraine and China and chose not to pay taxes. Now to the flood emergency across the Northeast. People are just beginning to assess the damage after one storm And now there's another one on the way. ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano is tracking what comes next. But first, here's a look at the damage that's already been left behind.
Tonight, families across the waterlogged Northeast now bracing for more flooding rain. In Little Falls, New Jersey, the Passaic River reaching major flood stage and has yet to crest.
Water is now pouring into this neighborhood. The sun is setting and the streets are filling up. People are being asked to evacuate because the river is going to keep rising through the dark of night.
This community seeing its third such water event in as many weeks and preparing for a fourth. Corey Nielsen staying put, but ready to flee if the water gets too high.
We'll row up the street and get out that way.
Governor Murphy here today urging vigilance.
We have no injuries or fatalities, and I hope it stays that way.
And from the south, surveillance video showing the moment an EF2 tornado struck Bamberg, South Carolina on Tuesday. Winds up to 125 miles per hour. That twister up to 5 football fields wide.
Just a monster of a storm. And Rob joins us now from Wayne, New Jersey, in the midst of all that water there. Rob, as that next winter weather system gears up, most of the country is under a storm warning tonight. What can you tell us about what's ahead?
Well, that's right behind the last one, and it looks very similar, Lindsay. This river is still rising. Will crest later on tonight. These vacuum cleaners, it's going to be a while before they can get a rinse themselves because flood watches are already up here for the next storm coming in. Blizzard warnings, as you mentioned, winter storm warnings, they're up already in the Midwest. And we also have a severe weather threat tonight across parts of the South. Little Rock down to I-20, Shreveport, and east into Mississippi. Could see some strong tornadoes develop after midnight and persist through the day tomorrow across Georgia, Alabama, and the Carolinas. The low itself taking a very similar track to the last one across the heartland, ramps up. I think Chicago gets more in the way of snow than they did with the last storm. Could be significant there. And then it pushes up east across the Great Lakes. But everybody east and south of the low will have mostly rain. But it will be heavy, 1 to 2, in some cases 3 inches. That's coming here into the Northeast with heavy wind as well tomorrow night into Saturday morning. So just as these rivers, some of them at least, begin to recede, a lot of them are going right back up after this next rainstorm this weekend. Lindsay?
No rest for the weary. Rob Marciano, our thanks to you as always. Tonight, a new report finds more than $1 billion worth of weapons sent to Ukraine were not properly tracked. ABC's Tom Suvi-Burge has this story.
Tonight, it's a critical moment for U.S. support in the war. A new report accusing U.S. officials of failing to account for more than half of the sophisticated weapons supplied to Ukraine in a sample that was under review. The Defense Department's Inspector General investigating whether nearly 40,000 items, such as Stinger missiles and night vision sets, were properly tracked just before and in the months after Russia invaded. The report found that more than $1 billion worth of $1.7 billion in military items under scrutiny were delinquent or not properly accounted for. But the report's finding no evidence that any U.S. military aid to Ukraine has been misused or stolen.
At this time, there remains no credible evidence of illicit diversion of U.S.-provided advanced conventional weapons from Ukraine.
It comes with Congress still not agreeing on continuing to support Ukraine. And now these frontline troops are running low on ammunition.
Well, you could really feel the force of this American gun. But these Ukrainian artillery units are now having to limit the amount they fire because of the scarcity of ammunition.
The unit showing us their stock of just 20 shells. They had around 200 a day just a few months ago.
Our thanks to Tom. Still much more to get to tonight here on Prime. Coming up, we bring you an update on those TV station employees who were held hostage live on the air. But next, imagine turning Wordle into a career and then sharing it all on TikTok. We chat with a woman who managed to do just that.
Whenever news breaks,
We are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In Rollingford, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland, let's go.
Travel
traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines, from southern Israel,
Outside the Gaza Strip.
in Beirut, from the FBI.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there.
You're streaming
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
Everything is so fine, little bit of sunshine. Some more, just a little bit. Breathe more, just a little bit. Smile a little more, and I'm into it. I've been running through the strange life. Pictures on my phone, like everything is so fine, little bit of sunshine.
Good morning, America.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Reporting from the 2024 campaign trail, I'm Rachel Scott in Des Moines, Iowa. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We're tracking several headlines around the world. Riots in Papua New Guinea's 2 biggest cities have reportedly left 15 people dead amid riots and looting. The unrest started yesterday after hundreds of police officers, soldiers, and prison staff walked off their jobs in protest over a pay dispute. The government attributed the cuts to an administrative glitch. Tensions there have been on the rise amid high unemployment and higher living costs. The Ecuadorian TV channel that was stormed by armed men who held employees hostage on live television is now back on the air. Broadcasting resumed as violence continues to break out in other parts of Ecuador, which is still under a state of emergency. According to the Associated Press, a bomb threat was made in a bustling area of the nation's capital today, as authorities elsewhere say 2 people were killed in a nightclub arson. And in London, archaeologists have announced a major historical discovery dating back to the Bronze Age, some 1,500 years. Buried remains of more than 20 people were unearthed from an Anglo-Saxon cemetery, which was uncovered during construction of the world's longest land and subsea interconnector between the UK and Denmark. Graveyard treasures were also discovered and included knives, jewelry, and pottery vessels. The latest and greatest in technology is being unveiled at the annual Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas this week. CES is billed as the most powerful tech event in the world, where innovations like snore-reducing pillows, flip phones that can bend, and even a computer you can put in your mouth are being unveiled. But the big star of this year's show, artificial intelligence. Joining us now to help break down what it all means for tech trends in 2024 is Brian Cooley, editor-at-large for CNET. Hey, Brian, thanks so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
So AI and VR were at the forefront last year, proving to be one of the most innovative years in more than a decade. Talk to us about what you're seeing with AI this year.
Yeah, that mix-up of AI and VR last year were typically put together in what's called the metaverse, which is something of a world of synthetic environments that you get into, usually using headgear, visual goggles. This year, AI is being used in a way that I think is more encouraging. And it's the idea that so many products we own today that are called smartphones, smart TV, smart home products, we all know they really aren't smart. They're connected, they're adaptable, they're very customizable, but they're not really smart. With the application of AI in the few years going forward, those products may actually become smart. That means that they will anticipate our needs more and we'll be able to control them, not necessarily by touching, tapping, or swiping or speaking, but sometimes by just being. The signals that we give off every day by just being around products aren't really being interpreted yet, but AI could help make that happen. It's kind of a magical frontier. I have a lot of confidence it's going to be real.
Wow. So our mind alone, it sounds like, will be able to make these differences in how the gadgets react. Let's talk for a moment about display technology with cutting-edge gadgets like phone screens that mimic the look and feel of paper and Samsung's new glare-free TV.
Yeah, there's a glare-free television from Samsung. Now, this is not new. People have seen glare-free televisions before. They're usually just a matte finish, and those matte finishes tend to disperse the glare, not get rid of it. Samsung's new proprietary technology doesn't appear to be one of those fuzzy matte screens. It doesn't change the off-angle viewing, and it gives you this ability to basically make those lights behind you go away and not show up as hot spots in the television. How many of us have been fighting with this during football parties and now playoff parties that are coming? And those are often during the day, and you've got windows and lights, and they're all making these hot spots on the screen. This technology looks pretty convincing to make that stop.
And there's also a new robot that some pet owners might be interested to hear about. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the pet robotics area has been coming along for a few years now, kind of since a company called Companion in San Francisco got things going with robotics that have AI in them. This new one is called Oro, O-R-O. It is an actual little robotic device that looks kind of humanoid, a couple feet tall, moves around on its wheels. And what it can do is use a camera and LiDAR, not unlike a self-driving car, to monitor your dog in terms of where it is, what it's doing, what its mood and activity are like. This is part of its AI that does that. It can throw a ball to engage the animal in fun. It can also use treats with a separate robotic feeder to engage in training, all while you're not around. And if you do want to see your dog while you're not around, you can actually connect through the camera, kind of like a rolling house security cam, and see what's up.
Can it walk your dog and clean up after it, too? I guess that's next.
No, I don't think you're going to want to trust it to go outside with your dog just yet. not when there's traffic nearby. And, yeah, cleaning up would be very nice. Haven't seen that yet, but I guess you could kind of use a robotic vacuum for that.
You've been attending CES for more than 2 decades now. Is there anything that stands out to you as completely useless? And at the same time, I'd ask if there's anything that you see as life-changing.
You know, a category that I see that often struggles to get traction are a lot of new cooking technologies. We saw some rather expensive cooktop ranges that some of them cook food by basically electrocuting it. Another one has these robotic heat panels that move around after they measure the thickness of what you're grilling. These things have been coming for many years. I haven't seen them have a lot of traction. On the other hand, an area that I think is exciting is I believe the smart home, which is all those light switches and our televisions and smart speakers, are finally going to start to knit together in the imminent year or two ahead, adding AI, so that, let's say I walk into a room, that is a command for the lights to come on, for that zone of the HVAC to warm or cool that room. The TV should probably go on. Maybe the chair starts to recline or gets into massage mode. That kind of smarts should be coming, and the smart home has been sort of disconnected and scattered up until now. But I'm excited that they're going to start to fix that.
We're going to look forward to that. All the future just around the corner. Brian Cooley, our thanks to you. And still to come, our weekly segment, TikTok, where we introduce you to one woman who turned her word game into some serious cash.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here. With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television. From America's #1 news comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter, and customizable to your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
How cute.
Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
We turn now to our weekly segment, TikTok, where we take a closer look at the story behind the sensation. Wordy, risky, sharp, all 5-letter Wordle picks or words to describe our next guest, puzzle influencer Savannah DeLullo, known to her nearly 2 million TikTok followers for solving the daily word guessing game. Let's take a look.
Wordle, but I'm going to be on TV in like an hour. I'm about to go to my interview. I have to leave in like 2 minutes. It's very stressful, but okay, we get an I in the middle. Maybe the answer is going to be, I don't know, some word about being on TV, being interviewed.
And Savannah joins us now. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Now, you say Wordle is more than just a game. It's actually performance art.
Oh, yes.
How did you make that distinction? Because the rest of the world primarily looks at it as a game.
Well, I make a video every single day of me solving the Wordle, and I feel like that would get pretty boring if I was just, you know, talking about the words I was doing every day. So you got to make it exciting. You got to bring in some special things. So I try to use Wordle as like a template to talk about other stuff that's going on, or do competitions with other people, or just have other fun things to do. So I definitely try to make it exciting and fun and not just me reading off a bunch of words.
How did you decide? Because a lot of people do Wordle, but most people don't do it like you do. How did you decide, you know what, I'm going to actually make this my content?
Well, so I never had the plan of wanting to be a TikTok star or a content creator. I just started playing Wordle, and I really liked it. And I saw that people were interested in it on social media, and so I thought, might as well just, you know, do it every day on TikTok. And it transformed into something I could have never imagined. You know, here we are 2 years later, and I'm still posting Wordle every single day and having a lot of fun doing it.
And tell us about your formula, how you go about deciding your first word of the day.
So people have a lot of different strategies for their starting words, and some people start with the same word every single day, but I think that's boring. I try to start with a fun word every single day. So I think about things that are going on during the day, or like something that happened to me yesterday, but always a fun word, and I try not to repeat words too many times.
And then how did this end up leading to collaborations with like Ed Sheeran and the Jonas Brothers?
Yeah, so I think something about what I try to do with my content is that I talk about the things that I'm interested in, and I'm super interested in music, and so I was sharing a lot about the things that I care about in music, and I think that got the attention of Ed Sheeran and the Jonas Brothers, and so I was asked to make Wordle videos with them, and it's honestly been a dream. I could never have imagined that that would happen.
And you also write review columns for Wordle for the New York Times, which owns Wordle. Explain what that's about.
Yeah, so a few months ago, the New York Times reached out to me and said they were doing a daily Wordle review column where they were having a guest columnist every day write about their strategy in solving the Wordle that day. And so I jumped on that opportunity. I thought it was so cool and exciting. So yeah, I think I've done a few columns for them, and I just write about what I was thinking and how I felt about the word, if I thought it was a fun word, because I don't like when the answer is boring. I want it to be a fun and exciting word, so I definitely like it better when they pick unique words.
I mean, I guess you would consider yourself a professional Wordle player.
Oh, yes.
At this point, have you ever gotten it on first try?
I have never gotten it in the first try. I have some friends who also play Wordle on TikTok, and they've gotten Wordle on their first try. So I'm still waiting for the day, but I know it's going to happen. That's my 2024 New Year's resolution, to get Wordle in one.
Do you think that you'll ever pivot, or you're sticking to Wordle?
Well, so I always have posted my Wordle every single day, and as long as people care about that, I think I'll still do that. But I also have been trying to bring in some other types of content as well. So I'm talking more about music or other games or just things going on in my life, and I've had a lot of fun with that too. So I like sticking around with like games, and so I've also done a lot of other games and collaborations with other social media influencers. But I think Wordle will always be there as my base.
A lot of fun. Savannah, thank you so much for coming on the show. And you can check out Savannah on TikTok at DailyXSav to solve a Wordle. And that is our show for tonight. I'm Lindsay Davis. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, the ABC News app, and of course on abcnews.com. The news never stops. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Have a great night. This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families